at the reading section for academic and general IELTS. Let's dive right into it. Your reading section in the exam is different for general and academic. You'll have two different question papers and you need to decide which one you need to appear for in the exam. For general and reading section, academic reading section, you are given 60 minutes of time for both. In both of these, you will have three major sections and a few passages to read, and following the passages, you will have some questions to solve. For academic reading, on one hand, you only have three long passages that you need to solve. For general reading, there are more or less 4 to 5 smaller passages that you have to solve, divided into 3 sections. The academic passages include diagrams, graphs, illustrations from academic magazines, journals, books, and newspapers, and the level is slightly higher than the one for general. In general reading, the texts are usually taken from notices, advertisements, handbooks, documents, and newspapers and so like. For both of these, you have 1 to 40 questions to solve, and depending on how many marks you receive out of that, you will be getting your band scores for reading section. For reading section, you have your markings from 0 to 9 based on the amount of marks you get out of 40. It can be delivered on a computer or it can be delivered on a paper. On a computer delivered examination, the reading section looks something like this. You have a paragraph to read and you have the questions on your right hand side. At the bottom of the screen, you will have questions from 1 to 40 and you will have a highlight button at the end of the screen along with the next button for you. For paper-based examination, you will have a question paper and you will have the answer paper. The question paper will have the passage along with the questions on it. You need to mark the answers into the answer paper directly, as there is no extra time for you to mark your answers from question paper to answer paper. So make sure you're marking it simultaneously as you go along solving the reading section. Now, based on the amount of marks you receive out of 40, you will be given your band scores. So there are two tables in front of you. You have the academic IELTS table and the general IELTS table for reading section. If you're aiming at 7 band scores and you are appearing for the academic reading test, you need to score 30, 31 or 32 marks out of 40. And if you're aiming at 7 band scores and you're appearing for general reading, you need to score 34 or 35 out of 40, which means 34 or 35 answers have to be correct in the exam out of 40. If you're aiming at 8 band scores, slightly higher, 37 and 38 marks stand for 8 band scores in general reading, whereas for 8 band scores for academic, 35 or 36 marks stand for that. Now, in your exam for reading section, whether it be general or academic, you have 60 minutes of time. In 60 minutes of time, you have 3 major sections to solve. So you can take 20 minutes per section or per passage to solve. Remember, in paper-based test or computer-based test, there's no extra transfer time. So the 60 minutes of time is all you get for your reading section. In your reading section, you will have different question types appearing in your exam for different passages that they have for you. All the question types will not appear, but in the class today, we will have a discussion on all the question types and we'll see some strategies you can use to apply to solve those questions. What are the question types? There are these 9 question types for your reading section. Multiple choice, short answer questions, sentence completion questions for note, table, form, summary, flowchart or diagram, yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given, classification questions, matching questions, choosing heading questions, and scanning and identifying location of information questions. Let's dive into it and see how to solve each of these question types. Your multiple choice question type can come in these 3 major types. You can have type 1, where you have to choose the appropriate letter from the given options. For each question, you have to select one correct option. Type 2, you have to select 2 correct letters from the given options for the question. And type 3, where you have to select 3 correct answers for the given questions. For all of these, you need to have a look at the questions they've asked you and accordingly mark the answers. For example, here the question is asking you to choose one letter for each question from 1, 2 and 3. So for each question you mark correctly, you will receive 1 mark for simultaneous questions. But type 2 has only question 4 for 2 options, which means one option carries half a mark for you here. For type 3, you have 3 options and there are 3 distinct questions, 5, 6 and 7, and depending on the correct options you choose, you will receive your marks for that. For multiple choice question, you have to make sure you read the instructions carefully and check how many letters they want you to circle or want you to mark, and skim the options carefully and the choices. When you're doing it, underline the options that you think will have important keywords. These words that will give you most information, and when you read the passage, you're going to find these words that will help you mark the answers. Try to get an understanding of the topic and the part of the question the options are dealing with. Read the vocabulary into the passage. Try to look for any illustrations that are present in the question or any detailed information given in the question, and accordingly choose the correct answer or answers. Remember to select the correct answer and write down the option number into the answer paper. So if you have to choose letters, select the correct letter and write down the correct letter in the required box into the question paper's answer. Second type for you is short answer questions. Short answer questions can appear in 2 different types. You can have type 1, where you have to select your answers and write them down into the answer paper directly. Type 2, we have to select and write more than one option for given questions. So for short answer question, you need to read the instructions carefully and list and see how many words they want to write down the answers in. Skim the questions quickly, and as you do this, decide what information you need to find in the text. Look out for the questions. Have they asked you a who, or have they asked you a where, or have they asked you a what? See what your answer can be, whether it's a name, whether it's a number, whether it's the information that they were looking for. Decide about that. Go back to the question and decide what part of the text you can find your answers in. Read that part carefully and find your answers. For short answer questions, you can use your own words for the answer from the passage. You don't have to write a complete sentence, but it does have to be grammatically correct. Side note for you, for short answer questions, read how many words they want the answers for. Do they want no more than 3 words? Do they want no more than 2 words? Or do they want only a single word? And accordingly, write down the answers in your question paper's answers. If your answer instructions tell you to write down no more than 3 words, if you find an answer with 4 words, that answer may not be the right answer. So keep an eye out for word count and check that when you're preparing your answer and writing it in the answer paper. 3. Sentence completion is a third question type for you. Again, it can appear 2 ways, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 can be a sentence completion question with given options, and type 2 can be a sentence completion question without the options. For both of these, you have to make sure you complete the sentence with the correct meaningful part of the second sentence. Sentences may not be the exact same you see in the passage. They may be paraphrasing, or they may be similar meaning words used to convey the meaning of the sentence. For both of these, you need to first understand the question and read the instructions carefully. See the halves of the sentences and see what half is missing in the sentence. As you do, underline the keywords. Try to find out what information you need. Think about the grammatical form, whether you have to select singular words or plural words. Look at the vocabulary. Try to understand meaning from the vocabulary. Go back to the sentence and see what can complete that given sentence. Find out the place of where it could be in the text. Read it carefully. Look out for parallel expressions and synonyms in the questions, because they may not use the same words again in the answer. Once you've got your sentence, make sure it's grammatically correct and making sense logically as well. If you're solving a type 2 question, write down your words into the answer paper. If you're writing a type 1 question for sentence completion, write down the correct letter for the option into your answer paper. For type 2, check the amount of words they want to write down. If the instruction tells you no more than 3 words, your answer should be 1 word, 2 words, or at the most 3 words. If it is 4 words, your answer may not be correct for a sentence completion question. Remember, for type 2, your answer could be more than 1 word or 2 words. Next question type. Completion question type can appear to you in different formats. You can have note completion, table completion, form completion, summary completion, flowchart completion, or diagram completion. These can appear again to you in 2 different types. You can have options or you cannot have options. Just like a previous question, different types of paragraphs can come to you and passages can come to you. A table can come to you, a paragraph can come to you, a note can come to you. For all of this, you've got missing information. You need to understand how to do the completion questions. Step number 1 for you would be to read the instructions carefully. Look at the question, whether it's a table or a form. Check the headings given in the question. If it's a table, check out the rows and columns of the table. If it's a form, locate what information is missing in there. If it's a flow chart, look at the sequence of steps given to you. If it's a diagram, check the diagram for missing parts. Try to get an idea of the topic. See which part of the passage is covering that. Then anticipate the grammar of the sentence and see if the answers are given to you are able to be guessed by you by looking at words around it and associate them. If it's table, check out the horizontal and vertical form of information. If it is summary, try to guess the meaning of the words from the given sentences. Try to look at each gap individually and try to fit the best word possible into these places. Again, read instructions carefully whenever they've asked you to write down 1 word, 2 words, or 3 words, or if they want to write down numbers in the answers, and accordingly insert your answers into the completion questions. Remember, if there's a box of answers, there will at least be 2 options you don't need, which means if the answer is 1 word, 2 words, or 3 words, but the answers cannot be 4 words or more. If your answer requires more than 4 words, then it's probably incorrect. Sometimes they may use different vocabulary to convey the question to you. So they can use words like complete the notice, complete the explanation, complete the news report, complete the form accordingly, and you have to figure out what the question type is. The 5th question type. True, false, not given, or yes, no, and not given. For this question, you need to identify whether the given statements are agreeing with the writer's claims or views or disagreeing with the writer's claims and views. If the given statements match the paragraph, in that case, the statement becomes a true statement or a yes statement. If the statement is exactly the opposite of the writer's claim, in that case, it becomes a false statement or a no statement. But if the information is not directly given to you, or you cannot figure out the information given to you based on the information, the facts are not given to you properly, in that case, you have to mark the answer as not given in the text. It may appear to you in 2 different types: yes, no, and not given, true, false, and not given. You need to figure out the instructions of the question and read through the statements to get an idea as to what topic are they talking about. Read the statement carefully, underline the main part of the question. Search for that section in the text where you think it is dealing with that idea or the fact. Once you find it, figure it out whether it agrees with the opinion of the author or not. If it is exactly the same as the author, in that case it's going to be true for you or a yes for you. If it is not given to you, then it's a not given for you. And if it is exactly the opposite, it's going to be false for you. Remember to not get confused between false and not given. A not given statement is when you cannot determine the answer from the given information. And a false statement is the opposite of the author's opinion present in the paragraph. So figure out with the sentences whether they are not given and false, and accordingly mark the answer. Next question type for you. 6th question type in reading section for you is classification. In this question, you need to classify the given information, also known as match the information on the given options to the given questions. The question will look something like this. We've got given options and you need to figure out from the given questions which option may go towards which question. For each question, you have to read the instruction very carefully and see what are you classifying the information on. Is it classified in the state names? Is it in the names of authors? Is it in the name of people? Read the classification carefully and make sure you don't confuse which letter the author stands for. Then underline the statement of phrases besides the questions and underline the keywords in the given questions. Start with the first name of the author or the first name in the classification and work your way towards them. Wherever you find the present in the text, you will find the information from the question in the text in that location. The questions may not necessarily be in the same order as the text. So make sure whenever you find the names of the authors or names of the countries, you find out the question sentences accordingly. Look out for synonyms and parallel expressions when you see them. If you locate the reference in the text, read that carefully there and try to mark your answer there. Remember, each question will have one letter as the answer. So don't mark multiple letters in one answer. At the same time, one letter can be used more than once. So one author name can provide two opinions and they can be present in the options, which means the options can repeat. So don't leave any statements without an option for this question type. The next question for you is matching question type, which is pretty similar to the one we just saw. This time you're matching the opinion of a given question to the option numbers. You'll be given a list of opinions, you'll be given a list of questions and a list of the options. From the given question, you need to figure out which opinion was given by the author. Here, obviously, you have more options than the number of questions, so some of the options will not be used. Read the instructions carefully, take the name of the sources one by one, and figure out the sources present in the passages. Locate these names into the text and see what their opinions are. See if you're able to figure out the name on the passage and the opinion given to you in the question. Look for similar words or parallel expressions or synonyms. Be aware that there could be the names used in more than one places. So check for each instance of the names. The opinions will not again be in the same order as they are in the question. So for example, locate words like his opinion, he said that, he claimed that. These will help you figure out the opinion of the given author in the given passage. Once you have them, mark them towards the options. Again, you can have one opinion given by an author and another opinion given by the same author. So you can have two opinions for two different authors. Next question type, choosing heading. Choosing heading can appear for you in two different types. Sometimes there could be choosing headings for each subsection of the passage. Sometimes it could be choosing heading for the entire passage. Type 1 is when you are given a list of headings, you are given questions with each section, and type 2 when you have to give one heading to the entire given passage. To do a heading question type, read instructions carefully first, understand how many sections you're supposed to give the heading to, read each heading one by one, and then go to paragraphs one by one. Read each paragraph and try to find out if the heading keywords are present in the paragraph or not. Try to search through the heading and see if it is summing up the entire paragraph or not. If it is summing up the entire paragraph within that heading is appropriate for each paragraph. Remember, one heading can only be used once and one paragraph can only have a single heading, which means once you use up a heading or you use up a paragraph, you cannot use another heading for the same paragraph, or you cannot have the same heading for a different paragraph. Try to think of your heading and look at the options of the paragraph. Understand the paragraph and try to summarize it in your words. See what comes to your mind when you read the text from the given heading options. In the end, you may have more than one heading that cannot be used. You can leave that heading. If all the paragraphs have one heading, that should be the end of the question for you. Finally, you have the scanning for location information question. in this question, you're given a list of information and you need to figure out where is it present in the given passages. The question may look something like this. You have to figure out which passage has the piece of information given to you in the question. For this, you need to underline the keywords given to you in the given questions. Go to your passages, figure out the keywords in the passage. So for that, read the passages carefully and understand the statements one by one. Underline the keyword, try to see where the keyword is appearing, and for each appearance, try to see if they have clear information given to you or not. Remember to look for parallel expressions and synonyms this time as well in the text, and if they have the information, one information can be present in a passage. Remember, one passage can have more than one piece of information, so for two options, your answer can be the same passage or sub-passage. You need to read the passage and figure out which letter can be the answer for the given questions. Thank you.